Okay, welcome. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the most common issues you may have when launching Gorilla and Gorilla doesn't launch, particularly on a Mac. So when you do install Gorilla, when you first download Gorilla, you will download the installer to your Downloads folder. Now on a Mac, to go to the Downloads folder, you simply go to the Go menu and then select Downloads. And that will open up your Downloads folder. You can also open it up here from the sidebar. Now here you will see all of your downloads, your recent downloads, and the installer will start with the Gorilla and then the version number and then the build number. And it is a DMG file normally. And if it's a zip file, which it can be, you want to right click the zip file and uncompress it. Okay, you'll have an uncompress option or a to make it a DMG file. So once that's a DMG file, you simply double click the DMG file and it will launch the installer. You'll see it here on the desktop as a mounted drive. And then you simply just double click the Gorilla 9 package installer and run through the install process. Now, when you do this on a Mac, it's going to ask you quite a few times to allow access to your documents folder and to allow access to install the file. It'll ask you quite a few times. Are you sure you want to allow? Are you sure you want to allow, continue, etc.? You must say yes with all the prompts. Otherwise, Gorilla is not going to launch properly. Now, if you did say no to one of those things, especially do you allow access to the documents folder, I'm going to show you how to fix that. So let's first close the installer, and I will eject the mounted drive there. Now I already installed Gorilla 9 here. It's in, and you will see it in the documents folder. So in order to launch Gorilla, there are two ways to do that. You can go to the documents folder, you find the Gorilla 9 folder, open it, and you will see, now I have some older versions here, 901 and 902. But as of the creation of this video, the latest version right now is Gorilla 9.04. And you will see a Launch Gorilla icon or a Launch Gorilla file here. Now you can double click this Launch Gorilla file and it should launch Gorilla. Now, if that doesn't happen, now I'm going to wait till this launches and I'm going to quit real quick. Okay, and I'm launched Gorilla just fine. I'm going to close this up and quit. If you instead go to the applications folder, and now again, this could happen if you say do not allow to documents, but you'll see a Gorilla icon here. Now you can also launch from here. However, if you do launch from this icon and Gorilla does not launch, instead you get this FileMaker Pro window with a Launch Gorilla icon right here. There's a couple things you need to do. Now if I do open that up, just double click it, it will open properly. But this is going to happen every single time you launch from the applications folder because it doesn't know what file to launch. So I'm going to show you how to fix that if you have this problem. So I'm going to close this up, quit Gorilla again. And again, you won't have this problem if you launch from the documents folder right there, but I'm going to launch from the applications folder. Okay, I'm going to launch it again, and it will again come with the Launch Gorilla. So in order to fix that, if this happens to you, you want to go under the FileMaker Pro pull-down menu here, select Settings. Now down here, notice it says at Startup File. This is in the General Settings. And it's grayed out here. So if I click on at Startup Open File, I'm going to click on the Browse button. I'm going to go and select the Gorilla 9 Launch Gorilla file right here. And what this will do is this will always launch the latest version of Gorilla in the 9 folder. In this case, it should be 904. I'm going to click on Open, and notice it's no longer grayed out. If I scroll down here and just kind of arrow down and over, you can see that it is pointing to the Documents folder, Gorilla 9, Launch Gorilla FMP12. I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to quit Gorilla. And now I'm going to launch again from this applications location and launch Gorilla. There we go. And Gorilla is now launched. Okay. I'm going to point out a few other issues that you might have on a Mac. So let's go ahead and quit that. All right. Another thing, and that this is very important, is the system settings. If, as I mentioned, you installed Gorilla and said no to allow documents, then you need to fix that in system settings. So in order to check that, you can go down to Apple pull-down menu, select system settings, and there's a few things you can check here. The first thing, actually, if you go down to privacy and security, which let's find that over here, right there on the left bar, scroll all the way down, and you're going to see the security option here. It says allow applications from. Now, this is selected as App Store and known developers. We are a known developer. We are a Apple developer. Our application's not on the App Store, but we are a known developer. But notice this other option here, App Store. If this is selected, now I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to cancel that. But if that is selected there, App Store, then you will not be able to launch Gorilla. So you need to make sure that this is App Store and known developers, okay? This is you won't even be able to install Gorilla. Okay, the installer will stop. So you have to make sure that that is selected. Another thing you want to do is you want to make sure, and again, by default, should all be okay in the install process. But if you selected no when you installed to Documents folder, if you go to the Files and Folders option here, again, we're under Privacy and Security, and you're going to see your apps that you give access to. Here's the Gorilla app. And if I open up this arrow here, you're going to see that Gorilla allow the applications below to access files and folders. These all need to be turned on. Okay. By default, I do not use iCloud here for Gorilla because if you do that, then Gorilla pushes to the iCloud, and that could be a problem. We have a whole other video if you are using iCloud, how not to put Gorilla in iCloud. Watch that video, iCloud syncing, which is also in the FAQ on our support page on our website. That's very important because that could also cause issues when launching if you are using iCloud and have iCloud turned on for documents. Okay, so you don't want that to be turned on. But here, notice that these three are all turned on. So Gorilla by default installs in Documents. So you have to make sure that the Documents folder is turned on right there. If it is not, and again, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to turn it off, you might have some issues launching Gorilla. Another option, this should do it right there, but another option here, if you go back to Privacy and Security, under the full disk access, here's Gorilla right there. You can also turn this on right there, and that will also allow Gorilla to launch because you're giving Gorilla full access to things like mail and such, because you can send an email from Gorilla and it'll open up your mail program if you want to do that. So this is probably the best option, is to make sure that Gorilla has full disk access, okay? And that's another issue that you should take a look at. So real quick, I'm going to go over the iCloud issue. Even though we have a whole video on it, I'm going to go over that real quick. Okay, so iCloud is a great thing to use. Same thing with Microsoft OneDrive. And I do have an iCloud drive, and I do use a lot of things, and I put a lot of things on there. However, if you use the iCloud, you want to make sure that Gorilla is not backing up to your iCloud drive. You can manually do that, of course. So if you go into System Settings again, okay, and in order to access iCloud, you want to click on your profile name, and then here is your iCloud option right there. Click that, and you can see I actually have iCloud Plus. I've got lots of memory there that I can store things, and I've got a lot of things saved to my iCloud. Now, okay, so here we have the Drive folder, and if I click this right here, now, depending on the version of your Mac, this happens to be Sequoia, which is the latest version as of this recording. The interface changes just a little bit, but now I have desktop and documents turned off. And if you do that, you won't have any problems with launching Gorilla. If you have this turned on and you have documents being backed up to the iCloud, the backup is really not the right word. It's really putting your documents in the iCloud. And if you do that, you could have issues launching Gorilla. So if you do have this turned on, Again, if you have it turned off, you won't have any problems launching Gorilla. But if you do have it turned on, if you go to Documents, and now I have it turned off, and you go to Gorilla, you will see, or anything here, you'll see a cloud, a little cloud here, which means that file or that folder is in iCloud, and it might not launch properly. So if you launch Gorilla, you might get that issue where it'll say we can't find Gorilla to launch. We can't find the scheduling.fmp12 file. So you have to be able to download your data from the iCloud to your documents. Notice there's a local folder here. Usually if you have iCloud turned on, you have a local documents folder, and you also have an iCloud documents folder. Now I don't have one because I have it turned off. So we can watch that iCloud syncing video if you are using iCloud. Okay, I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, please email or chat us about launching Gorilla. Thanks.